In the house that I grew up in, my parents spanked me. Grab a Bible and turn open to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. So we started Genesis chapter 3 last week. We had the fall of man. And now this week we have Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. So Genesis 3 and verse 14, and where you find that, let me just tell you that in my house, I don't know how you grew up in your house, and I'm not trying to have a debate with anybody about parenting. I'm just telling you, in the house that I grew up in, my parents spanked me. And because we grew up in a house with 3 boys, spankings were a regular occurrence. I did deserve it. Let me tell you about this one time, okay? Well, I was told. I can tell you bunches if you want them. But this one time, my brother had this karate class. My oldest brother, not the one who does karate now. My oldest brother, Matt, he was in a after-school karate program. And I had very strict instructions to go into the karate class, sit in the chair, sit at the table, be quiet, and color. That was my option. Sit down, be quiet, color. That was it. And I would sneak in toys, and I would run around. And I had this little frog, and he had a suction cup, a spring, and then a suction cup. And you take a little frog, and you press the frog down the suction cup, and then he'd begin to wiggle, and then he'd pop up real high. And I snuck it in my pocket, and I stuck it down on the gym floor there in the after-school karate program. And they had all these gym mats out, and I had my strict instructions. But when Mama wasn't looking, I stuck that down on the floor, and it popped up real high, and it landed right in front of the instructor. And I went running out to go grab it, and I grabbed that little frog, and I looked up, and I see the look on my mom's face, and the instructor's right beside me, and he goes like that. And so my dad told me after that one, he said, every time you misbehave at the karate class, I'm going to add another lick. And he did. And I got into the teen. He added one. I got into the teens before I stopped. Right. My dad would tell me this regularly. Maybe your parents, if you've ever been spanked by a parent, maybe they'd tell you this. My dad would say, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you. And now that I'm a parent, I can tell you that that's a true statement. Who likes to do that? I hate going home and my kids are in trouble. And that's no fun. I mean, you've been working all day. It's been a hard day at work, and you go home and your kids are in trouble. And I can assure you that my dad. Can I say something real quick? I'm not even going to pass the plate a second time. Let me give some good parenting advice. You ready for this? Everybody says, there's a fine line between spanking and abuse. No, there's not. It's a big, gigantic, wide, fat line. It is not a hard thing to understand. My dad was not abusing me. He spanked my bottom because I was misbehaving. And you know what? Now that I'm older, I can honestly say that I'm thankful for it. The last spanking I got was on my 7th birthday. He didn't have to keep doing it, because my dad loved me, and he was disciplining me. Now, if you say we don't spank, whatever. I'm not trying to argue about spanking. Please do not come to me later and tell me about your qualms about spanking and give me some book from some psychiatrist, because I'm not going to read it. Not that one, okay? I'm just telling you, get the illustration. My dad didn't spank me because he was mad at me. I'm sure there were times he was mad at me and then he spanked me, but that's a different case. I'm saying he wasn't taking his wrath out on me by spanking me. He was disciplining me so that I wouldn't grow up to be a little mongrel that ran around and didn't listen and didn't obey. By the time I was 8 or 9 years old, if my dad said something, I stopped and did it. It didn't matter what it was, because my dad taught me, and I was disciplined by him. He loved me, and he wanted to discipline me so that I would grow up to be a good citizen in society. We understand what I'm saying? Today we're going to see the Lord's discipline to Adam and his wife, and to the serpent, and to the whole creation, because they've sinned. And this is not God pouring out his wrath. I can't tell you the number of people that said this was God's wrath. This is not God's wrath. God's wrath comes at the end. And it looks a whole lot different than what we're going to see today. Today what we see is loving discipline from our Father. So look with me. It's Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3 and start.